There is a very real chance that this guitar could explode. The bridge could just rip straight off of it. I hate losing. I hate losing money. I've only lost money on a couple guitars ever, in the thousands of guitars I've owned. And the way I've done that is that I stick to what I know. And I went outside of what I know, and I bought a guitar, and I'm probably going to lose some money on it. Probably going to lose a bunch of money on it. It's way, way worse than I thought. So, here's the story. A few weeks ago, I bought a Takamine. I don't know much about Takamines, but I know that what I found is the one. It's the EF341. This is the Bon Jovi Wanted Dead or Alive guitar. Has the pickup, and I thought it'd be cool. I don't know much about these, and it was a low stakes. It felt low stakes. I got it. I missed a couple things. And a few weeks ago, caught up with Danny Dolinger, the fret boss himself.
There he is, Danny.
Hey Jeremy,
Hey buddy, good man, good to see you.
Good to see you always.
So, is this thing dead or alive?
It's I suppose it comes down to a question of whether or not there is in fact consciousness. I say that there is.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
I don't know that this guitar has it. So
Oh boy.
here's what's going on with this guy. It has a it has this string doctor in it, which is a device that leverages the belly flat. I don't know what this thing is going to look like without the string doctor. It has so when this showed up, when Jeremy brought this to me,
It had two bolts here that I
Exactly.
didn't think about or catch, and that's on me, but
right, and they were, and there, one of them has a lock nut on it, and the other one has a free will nut, so they're kind of interestingly matched. This guitar's got some Frankenstein qualities to it. Anytime, you know, it just looks like a couple of bolts sticking out of somebody's neck when I see something like this. But these guys were in here this way, just sticking up through the bridge.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not that glaring and obvious. It almost looks like it belongs there until you look closer and see that these things have been bolted down. And the problem with, you know, that was done to correct a lifting bridge. And the problem with that is that a glue joint on a bridge is built to fail. So when you take bolts and bolt them down to bolt the top to the bridge, then the top will move and the top will fail instead of the bridge joint failing. A lifting bridge is easy to fix. I pulled the bolts out. There was one of these markers.
Oh, got it. Okay.
One of the pearl dots was sticking through this hole here, and that's where this screw attaches, that for this mechanism that leverages the bridge up. So you've got two bolts and a pearl dot. I removed the pearl dot, removed this, started to look at the bridge, just testing out. Also, you have to pull, you know, this is the piezo is bolted through on this guy as well. And Takamines are great. Like, they're what Ovation was in its time. I think of Takamines as being in our time. It's like they are really solid guitars if you're going to be playing an acoustic with electric guitar, bass, and drums.
Yeah.
These guys fit in the mix in a really good way. So you know, those things don't disturb me. It's kind of cool. It's an interesting guitar. But once I got everything ready to begin to prepare for the bridge removal, because there's plenty of separation here, as soon as I began to work a palette knife in just to get the feel of this, I could tell that it had been re-glued. There were stalactite, stalagmite kind of things going on there, and I can't tell what kind of glue that was, and I don't know how it's going to respond to heat, but on top of it, this paint
We're
is
losing that
also
black.
really, really fragile here. So the combination of heat and force that I suspect would be necessary to correct what I think might be Gorilla Glue, but it's not. It did not respond like proper glue that you would use, like
Okie doke.
not cyanoacrylic. Yellow glue, carpenter's glue. So I didn't trust this to pull it apart, considering the investment that has been made in this guitar, the return that you can get on the investment.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. I could get that bridge apart and get it back together, but I don't think that I could make it look good. And I think it would be a lot of work.
In the end, I'm not actually in this terribly. I'm in at 135 bucks. I was thinking it's going to take 150 bucks, 200 bucks to get it sorted, and I'd sell it for $500-600 bucks, make a video on it. If I put strings on it now, do you think it will explode?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. So here's the thing about putting strings on this as it is right now. What I would do is I would go ahead and pop the saddle back in and string it up.
Danny's a good friend. If you're gonna get bad news, probably get it from a good friend. So the guitar is here. It needs. Danny basically said, put some strings on it, see what happens. So let's do that. I'm not excited about this, but it should make for a good video. So buckle in, subscribe. I'm Jeremy. This is Guitar Hunter. If you don't know, this thing is a Takamine. It's an EF341. This one's made in Japan. It is a solid cedar top, and it is maple laminate back and sides. Now, these have a cult following. That's why I got it. I think if you're going to get into a thing you don't know about, you probably should just try the best example of one, which I immediately didn't do that. I bought the worst example of one. So, alright. Well, cool guitar. The most iconic thing about these is the pickup. I mean, this is the thing that people are the most interested about. This was the best sounding acoustic guitar in what, the 80s, 90s? I doubt it is anymore, but this thing overall, it's not awful as far as the guitar itself. There's one gnarly case bite there. That's probably the guitar getting picked up and brought out and the case falling and hit there, but on a black guitar, it's immediately very problematic because you can just see it so clearly. So someone has literally just colored in there with a permanent marker. But let's put the saddle in it. Well, first need to clean these frets. But cult following, this is what this guitar is. Wanted dead or alive. Trying to avoid doing any of those. It's going to happen. Buckle in. that sounds. Huh? Hang on. Battery pack is not happy. I think whether we mean to or not, we end up bringing in opinions about gear that is not connected to reality or actual experience, but it's just somebody told you along the way. So for me, somebody told me along the way that Takamine's are bad guitars that sound cheesy and that they're not good because they're laminate back and sides. And so I've just written them off for 20 couple years. Like I owned a Jasmine at one point, which was their like sub-line, and I thought it sounded fine. But anyway, man, this one, unnerving to put strings on. I don't think that it's as scary or as far off as I thought it was, but I'm still a bit nervous. This guitar, I got it for $135, which you're going to say, hey, that's really cheap. You shouldn't have freaked out about that much money. I hate losing money on guitars. I've only lost money on 2 guitars ever, and I don't want to repeat that. I was a bit embarrassed, if I'm honest. I was embarrassed that I missed the damage and the mods on this guitar. This bridge, someone took it off, and someone put it back on, and when they put it back on, they used epoxy or Gorilla Glue or some kind of epoxy kind of glue that is not the right wood glue for this. Now, with that said, those kinds of glue are particularly strong, and so I'm not actually that concerned. Because if you know how guitars are built, the strings don't attach to the bridge itself glued on the top. They attach to the bridge plate underneath. So you have the bridge that gets glued to the top. The top is glued to a bridge plate. That bridge plate is glued in, and usually it's tucked in under the X brace. So it's not like you're just pulling straight up on the bridge, and it's not like this thing's just gonna flip forward and break. I'm gonna keep an eye on it, and whoever buys this from me, I'm gonna ask them to keep an eye on it. But in the meantime, it's a cool black guitar. It's a super Bon Jovi kind of thing. And it's, yeah, surprisingly good for what it is. I mean, I do think my exit strategy, worst case scenario, I can sell a used Dreadnought case for like 80 bucks. So worst case scenario, I'm out 50 bucks. But I think somebody will take this thing and they will have the same perspective that I have on it, which this thing is here for a good time. It's probably not here for a long time. And so just enjoy it while it lasts. So thanks for watching this video. I'm Jeremy. I'm the Guitar Hunter. This is a Takamine EF341. And this is straight Bon Jovi. And it will be for sale on the website. So go check it out. Hasta luego. Thanks for watching. Bye. That's just for you.